Liverpool make two changes from the side which beat Nottingham Forest here on Tuesday. Steve Nicol is fit again to replace Barry Venison. David Burrows, though, has a damaged ankle, so there's a recall for Gary Ablett. Still that Anglo-Irish midfield, which includes the first Kenny Dalglish signing, Steve McMahon from Aston Villa. And then Peter Beardsley, omitted on the opening day, but a scorer in Liverpool's second match, along with Ian Rush, who's been on target in both games so far. Aston Villa bury the side which was held at home by Southampton last Saturday. Still a three-man central defence of Kent Nielsen, Derek Mountfield and Paul McGrath, with the fullbacks Chris Price and Stuart Gray pushing on into midfield, where they're strengthened by the inclusion of an extra player, Kevin Gage, with striker Ian Olney being relegated to the bench. So David Platt will be asked to support, when he can, the one central forward, Tony Cascarino. In all, 10 players on view who took part in the World Cup, and one manager, Joe Venglosh, still learning about life in charge of an English First Division club. Lessons tend to come thick and fast at Anfield. Often they're painful ones. Well, David Platt hasn't quite had the adulation heaped upon Paul Gascoigne, but his life has certainly changed after his World Cup exploits, which included 3 goals for England in Italy. It's an international occasional round with FIFA referee Keith Hackett. Aston Villa seeking to show that they can again mount a challenge in the First Division. Liverpool possess the blueprint for consistency. 6 titles in 9 years, runners-up on the other 3 occasions, all since Villa last landed the championship in 1981. Gordon Cowan's played in that side. He also played in the last Villa team to win on this ground back in 1977. Steve Nicol. Tony Cascarino wearing number 11, which is something of a superstition for him. He was saying before the game he has never scored wearing number 9, which is most unusual when you consider the position that he plays in. The pitch, immaculate, like most things connected with Liverpool Football Club. Not quite, though, the cross from Nicol. But he has another chance, looking to free Beardsley. Paul McGrath had problems in Villa's opening game when he was down to mark Southampton's Matthew Le Tissier, who led him something of a dance. Villa didn't have a midweek game. They were due to play Manchester City, but some pop concerts at Main Road interfered with the fixture. Beardsley trying to muscle a way through, and he stayed down after colliding with a posse of Villa defenders. And it's most unlike Peter Beardsley to complain, and he hasn't moved, and The referee very happy to take the chance to blow. And I just wonder whether, in case of the wind being taken out of the Beardsley sails, didn't even make the 13 named players away to Sheffield United a week ago in the starting team against Forest here. Now this is what happened. He was trying to bundle past McGrath, who simply shrugged him aside. No suggestion, as you saw from the referee, of any infringement on Beardsley, and happily nothing lasting about the problem. Cowans, who in particular was pointing out how good the playing surface was here, and it might just suit his type of slide rule passing. He's still a craftsman. And Platt is in here and he's onside. He did well to retrieve it. Grobbelaar always happy for an excursion away from his goal line. And it's an interesting throw to release Barnes. Faced by Price. Oh, and Derek Mountfield just got there before the ball dipped beyond him, where Rush was lurking. Liverpool in the end won the title from Aston Villa by 9 points. Villa just falling away in the latter weeks of the season, but they were majestic through the winter months. They had a spell of 15 wins in 18 games. But can they do it again? That's a more ultimate test. And a better test, really. Remember, 2 seasons ago, they were fighting to stay in the First Division. So I detect that even in the Villa dressing room itself, players aren't quite sure how this season will pan out. They come into it from 2 extremes. And they've left Beardsley onside to get the ball across. McGrath dealt with it and tries to exert a measure of calm. Daly, who is such an exciting player, past Liverpool en masse, and still he goes until he's bowled over by Gillespie. There wasn't a clear run on goal. Liverpool still had some vestige of cover remaining, which is why Gary Gillespie is not perhaps in quite as much danger as he could otherwise have been, given the amendment to the law this season. And it's merely a free kick, earned in thrilling fashion by Daly. This is Gray, and this is Grobbelaar. It was an expert free kick, matched by the quality of the handling by Liverpool's goalkeeper. How Villa good enough last season to come here and get a 1-1 draw. They scored first then, a match played in December, and they also drew 1-1 with the eventual champions very early in that season at Villa Park. It's a good start by the team now in the charge of Joe Venglosh. Price. Platt, just trying to poke it wide to Gray. Cowans. Wanted a little too much time. Unlikely to get that against Liverpool's midfield. Whelan, the captain, in the absence of Hansen. It's a job he's done before. Houghton with room to turn. Rush and Beardsley ahead of him. Cowans again caught, virtually in possession. Rush. Nice work by McMahon. Barnes, is there room for a shot? There hardly seems to be. There was for a little cross that earned a corner off Price. Barnes wasn't exactly crowded out. There's something of a fear factor there in Aston Villa's defence in case a little change of direction might have brought about a penalty. Liverpool wait with Houghton and Ablett for Gillespie to come forward. He's there now. Indeed, Liverpool forward in force. Houghton on the ball. McMahon. Daly, Cascarino to the left, and Daly's found him. Liverpool have to funnel back. Gray. Cowans gets his pass away this time, and Ablett from left back was covering. Gage. Cascarino trying to show his strength in the air. Has been said, of course, about Liverpool when opponents try to find weaknesses that there might be some vulnerability to cross balls. There was that semi-final against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup where there certainly was a weakness that day. And it may be an area to keep an eye on if Aston Villa can continually play crosses towards Cascarino. Gage. Grobbelaar will come. Daly will get there. And did Grobbelaar get contact? Well, Keith Hackett, had he given a free kick then, might well have had to take a sterner situation with Grobbelaar. But he saw nothing wrong, and Daly seemed to have got the better of the Liverpool goalkeeper and couldn't turn it into either a goal or a problem for Bruce Grobbelaar. Now Whelan. McMahon's made a run ahead of him, helping to create the space that Houghton might use now. Rush is offside. Well, Bruce Grobbelaar came charging out then, and if he brought Daly down, the consequences might have been dire, but Keith Hackett said play on after that. Cascarino up above Ablett. It's been an opening 10 minutes in keeping with what you'd expect from the two sides that finished first and second in England's First Division last season. Bright and busy and creative. Cascarino climbed beautifully again. Platt coming from midfield. And he's adept at doing that to almost fulfill the two roles in one. Cowans. Well, that's the problem for Villa when Platt is definitely in the midfield pack as he was. There was no ball forward really with Cascarino well marked. As they try to choke the life out of Liverpool in midfield with this change in philosophy for this game. Ablett with the cross. McGrath always likely to master rush in the air. Whelan has the shot, Barnes is offside, and that doesn't count. was the line that the linesman was looking along, and he was perfectly placed to make the ruling. The flag went up straight away, long before Barnes put the ball past Nigel Spink. Gage. That was Kent Nielsen getting in. Gray. Rush guiding it down with his body, and McMahon rather extravagantly overhitting, but ending taking full responsibility for the mistake. He just had to scurry there to prevent what would have been an unnecessarily conceded corner. McMahon looking to lift the tempo. Ablett. Beardsley looked questioningly at the referee. Liverpool still have the ball in any case. And Barnes trying to put that possession to good use. Ablett, no way past the body of Price. Oh, and Beardsley, it was a great ball by Ablett. And a great goal! Very much in the Liverpool manner. And it's come inside the opening 15 minutes, into feet by Ablett. And Beardsley's feet were twinkling here to make space for the shot. And to find the space beyond the dive of Spink. Aston Villa are behind. It's not just speed of movement that can hurt you at Anfield, it's the speed of thought as well. Players with capable minds as well as talent in their feet. Daly. McMahon puts it back to Grobbelaar. Well, Kenny Dalglish, for his own reasons, left out Peter Beardsley from Liverpool's first league game of the season. He brought him back on Tuesday night. He was a scorer then, but immediately substituted, though it was late in the game. And whether he particularly responds to the way the manager treats him, it seems that way, doesn't it? Because that was a goal from a player who looked as though he wanted to prove a point. And remember, Graham Taylor is picking an England squad very shortly. And Beardsley is in form. That's the message here from Anfield. Price from one of Grobbelaar's clearances that didn't go quite where it was planned. Nielsen. McGrath. Here's Cowens. Well, Kevin Gage played for Aston Villa's reserve team against Liverpool reserves in midweek. He was a winner then, but he's behind here. Dummying over the ball, wondering whether Liverpool might push out. They hold the line on the edge of the penalty area now. Barnes. Whelan going ahead of him. Ablett. Houghton. Nothing wide to the right for Liverpool at the moment. But through the middle, they're going to try a shot through Whelan. Forward from Gray. Cascarino trying to buy Aston Villa a little time here and not able to do it. Houghton won the ball back. Rush, McMahon, Barnes to the left. Price drawn in too. So Barnes with freedom for expression, and Rush. Any sort of contact looked as though it would produce a goal as Ian Rush launched himself. Flicked off Price, and Rush may be confused by that. But Liverpool mighty close to a second here. By Derek Mountfield, who is an Evertonian by background as a player and indeed as a fan. Gillespie, everything ahead of him, including McMahon. Whelan. Pass and move, that's the Liverpool method. Easy to say, very hard to emulate. Beardsley, to my mind, to be impeded off the ball. Aston Villa struggling to keep a grip at the moment. One goal down. Press back once more. Now Nicol. And anywhere away from his own goal will do for McGrath. Beardsley, Whelan timed that beautifully. Oh, and Platt was very fortunate indeed to get away with that. He played it without being aware of where Rush was. Nielsen. Daly, hounded from behind by Gillespie. Free kick to Villa, taken quickly. Maybe because of the success for both clubs last season, no major move in the transfer market. Although Liverpool did tie up the deal involving Ronnie Rosenthal, who was actually on trial here last season. Aston Villa, of course, have had more than their share of publicity from the change of manager. Gillespie read it well enough in the end. What he didn't see, and was perhaps lucky to avoid it, was Grobbelaar charging out behind him. Hussein. trail behind him of players wearing claret and blue. Well, for Liverpool, the footballer of the year, for England, still something of a puzzle. And maybe in defence of John Barnes, we just expect too much. Here's Abbott. Beardsley. Such lovely movement from Liverpool at the moment. Barnes. Mountfield had to try and defend, sitting on his backside. Rush takes it up. Here comes Nicol on the charge. The cross has to come in quickly. Barnes. It defied even his agility. But it was played with such perception and pace that it's got the Anfield faithful roaring again in appreciation. Was high from Whelan, but nothing dangerous. Ruled by a referee who loves the game to flow, and it's certainly doing that mostly in one direction. Can Aston Villa have a corner? Mountfield and Cascarino, key figures around the penalty spot. It's Mountfield, and that was Platt. There wasn't much Liverpool could do about it initially. Back from Gray. Grobbelaar comes. Cascarino beaten by the goalkeeper. McGrath trying to retrieve it. Gillespie, his first instincts, footballing ones, not to just hang the ball out of play. In the end, that's what he had to do as Mountfield closed in. That's the picture with 20 minutes remaining in the first half. Gage. Gray immediately moving to the left, but Gage using him as a decoy. Cowans. Gray involved eventually. Gage. It's nicely done for Platt. Gage loves to shoot from the edge of the area, and Grobbelaar had to use the full extent of his leap again, and the ball did go behind. It's a Villa corner. Kevin Gage struck that pretty well. I would suggest from the outside of the right foot it was veering inside the post. Grobbelaar flung himself away to palm it eventually behind. Nielsen. Platt! 1-1. Liverpool, not for the first time, undone by a set play. Well rehearsed. I'm sure Liverpool were well aware of the danger, but they couldn't stop it. Cowans with the corner. Nielsen helped it on. And the finish from last season's Players' Player of the Year, England's David Platt. How much will that rock Liverpool back? They had been dictating the tempo of the match. Rush! And it was surely a corner off McGrath. Not given. Well, Villa trying to regain their concentration here, not very successfully. For my money, that was off McGrath. Keith Hackett has given the goal kick. David Platt with 24 goals for Villa last season. 3 more in the World Cup. And his first of the new campaign for Aston Villa. Ablett. Gray, under close supervision of the linesman and of Ray Houghton, prevented a corner. Rush. Daly having to help out. Here's Whelan. It's a Liverpool ball. Kenny Dalglish doesn't take any setback with good grace, and I mean that as a compliment. It's an essential part of the winning attitude here. Beardsley has slipped them again. Barnes. Steve Nicol round the back. Off Nielsen. They're penned into their own penalty area at the moment. Nichols cross. McGrath. Whelan. Barnes is there. McMahon was clever enough to have a look around to see what was on. Barnes was part of that. And this time it was Mountfield. Aston Villa leaning heavily on their defenders at the moment. And Nicol. It's a siege. Houghton. But it's not going to be a goal. Not yet. Dalglish retired now as a player, recently retired. He got his foot to the ball as soon as it crossed the line to keep the impetus going. He realised the importance of that. Villa might just have equalised, but they're flagging. Gray. Nicol trying to give him no time. McMahon. Hussein. There's no time for Aston Villa to draw breath, and they need to, maybe now. Nigel Spink will be well advised to hang on to the ball for as long as the referee will allow him. Price. Daly trying to drill it to Cowans. Here's Platt. Barnes. The help was all infield and plenty of it. McMahon. That was measured for Barnes. One of the first things really that Aston Villa have been trying to learn under the influence of Joe Venglosh is to improve their work off the ball and their appreciation of filling in for each other to make their football less stereotyped, more fluent. But really that's what Liverpool have always done. Gillespie. How? He thought about the shot. In fact, Rush might have distracted him. Now Nickel. Villa have a lot of players back, and you sense they might need all of them. One of them is Platt. Nielsen trying to find a way out of their own half. There might be a ball over the top for Daly to chase. Cowans. Cascarino felt he was impeded there by Hussein. But in truth, the player marking Tony Cascarino, the Swedish international, was just holding his own ground and was entitled to do that. Gillespie. McGrath and Mountfield with a lot of experience, although oddly enough Paul McGrath is playing his 200th league game today. That's not too many for a man who's also taken part in 41 internationals. He has really been weighed down by injuries his days at Manchester United. What a fine player, though, when fully fit. Aston Villa are going to need those qualities that McGrath can bring at the back as Liverpool stride on again. The problems come from so many quarters. It's Gillespie, and it's a corner. Gary Gillespie will always be quick to tell you that he once got a hat-trick for Liverpool in a league game. Liverpool, as is so often their way, work a short corner. That's Gillespie again, the attacker. Limited to just over 51 minutes playing for Scotland in the World Cup, Gary Gillespie, when he came on as a substitute against Brazil. Marking Tony Cascarino had more game time for the Republic of Ireland. At the moment, Cascarino's lost a boot. Time, though, to get the footwear right again, as Villa have a throw. Steered well by Cascarino. Daly had a look up. He spotted Gray, who's in space. On for Cascarino to attack. And Tony Cascarino, who incidentally celebrates his 28th birthday today, was telling me before the game that in his two previous visits here with Millwall, he's hit the underside of the crossbar at the Kop end and not scored. He didn't even manage the frame of the goal with that attempt. Havlet. Platt was trying to cut off the back pass unsuccessfully. Barnes. McMahon. Well, McGrath, who loves to move forward when the situation demands, was trying to give himself a little run then, but the situation really doesn't merit it at the moment. As Liverpool with McMahon. threaten once more. Ablett. Barnes. The spare man is Ronnie Whelan. And Nielsen and McGrath going for the same ball then. Oh, great determination by Daly. Not really known for the quality of his defending, and then he really made the wrong decision having won the ball, trying to run with it. McGrath wants to wallop it this time, and you can't blame him. Gillespie. Cascarino kicks the ball away in disappointment. We recognise the responsibility then for everybody to defend for Aston Villa. Gillespie was trying to make a monkey out of him. And in the end it was a free kick to Liverpool, which has led to Ablett's cross. Now Gray. Barnes. Beardsley, faced by McGrath. Mountfield touched it away. McMahon. I'm almost copying the example of Beardsley in showing that you don't actually have to take the ball past the defender to get your shot in. If you just wrong foot him and move to one side, as Beardsley did when he scored, it can be just as effective. Daly, a little ankle tap by Houghton. As we move inside the final 5 minutes in the first half. Aston Villa, who've spent plenty of time on the receiving end, but have got back into the match at 1-1. A chance to even improve on that. Gage. And again. McMahon, oh, and Rush allowed to face the goal. And he didn't appeal for a penalty, which I think holds the key to that. It's one of the most consistent bleats from the rest of the First Division that Liverpool get too many penalties, notably at Anfield. Keith Hackett wasn't interested then, and number 2 was the player who went down, Ian Rush. Barnes. Hussein. Houghton. Run with Cascarino behind the ball for Aston Villa. Gage. The very fact that they were defending in numbers, making it difficult for the ball actually to be worked upfield. It fell kindly off Whelan for Cascarino, the lone forward. Daly. Cowans. That has joined Cascarino in the centre. Price coming in, and unmarked too, and The player who's only scored once in Aston Villa's colours, but a goal to remember, a winner at Arsenal last season. And allowed to push on from full-back by the system that Villa operate. Liverpool didn't pick him up, and they'll be annoyed about that. And possibly the responsibility there to defend belonged to John Barnes. Oh, that's dropping where Rush might get to it. He got it past the on-rushing Spink, and McGrath, who was deceived by the length of the pass, was able to clear, not for long. Beardsley, nice using his head in a defensive capacity this time. But there wasn't much depth to Aston Villa's defending a moment or two ago. Ian Rush, who scored in the 2 previous league games this season, very nearly made it 3 in a row. Here he is again. Houghton. The minute or so to half-time will seem a long time to Aston Villa. Barnes. And well-defended Price. Mann. Giving Ablett a better position now. It's a great position, in fact. It's Gillespie, McGrath, and then Cascarino has to steer it behind. Liverpool looking to make maximum use of the little time that remains. Again, the same philosophy, to use the short corner. Nicol, McMahon, trying to just bang the ball through the crowd. Houghton. I'm not sure who called what. Glenn Hussein very nearly capitalised on the indecision. A first half, much of which was played in Aston Villa territory, but Liverpool with just the 1 goal to show for it. Beautifully executed by Peter Beardsley with the assistance of Gary Ablett. But Aston Villa always well versed in set pieces under Graham Taylor, looking the same under Joe Venglos, with David Platt rounding off the corner kick routine. It's 1-1 after a top-notch first half at Anfield. Whatever happens in the second half here, or indeed over the rest of the season, Aston Villa do have the edge over Liverpool in one respect. They have been allowed back into European competition. And Liverpool hoping that their ban will be soon lifted. Cowans. Gray, here comes Grobbelaar. Whelan. Stayed ahead of Barnes. Houghton through the middle. Is he going to get the goal? Spink says no. Yet again, it was football of the highest order. And Ray Houghton couldn't steer it past Spink, who didn't panic. But Whelan's pass was so inviting. Well, Aston Villa, perhaps guilty of leaving their concentration in the dressing room, but finding Liverpool, well, let's give them the credit, finding Liverpool picking out an attack of real quality straight away in the second half. How? Rush. Here's Houghton again. Platt, who's such a good athlete and really is perfectly made for this demanding job that he's got today, to be a midfield player and auxiliary striker. His tackle was an ungainly one here, and Liverpool have already taken the free kick. And Rush is offside.
Too late.
Cascarino. Platt. Well, it's worked out well for Aston Villa. It's just a piece of improvisation, really, by David Platt. But the back heel was in danger of bewildering Liverpool in that it found Tony Daly unmarked. It's just the sort of match that you would expect from two teams who performed so capably in the previous campaign. And Rush, with more invention from the champions. Just hasn't come quite where Ian Rush would like it as yet. Daly. He should be quicker than McMahon, but McMahon responded cleverly then to jockey and backpedal and not make it a straight race. But now it's an obstruction by Nicol on Cowans. Aston Villa, who scored from a corner kick, now have a free kick, for which they beckon Mountfield forward. Cowans giving himself another option, but driving it to where Mountfield thought he might reach it, but Grobbelaar had similar ideas. It's one-on-one, Rush and McGrath. Paul McGrath came away from Anfield with some useful results in his Manchester United days. It's a Liverpool throw. Villa just leaving Cascarino upfield and even thinking twice about that. How? Hussein. It's mass defending by Aston Villa at the moment, and still Liverpool have the ball. Nicol. And line it up, McGrath in the way, and McMahon, it was a difficult ball to take first time. Well, those days when Steve McMahon played for Aston Villa seem a long time ago now. He left in 1985. He actually played in this fixture in Villa's colours a couple of times and was sent off here against Liverpool. McMahon has certainly curbed a bit of his youthful impetuosity, but he's still a fiery competitor. It's Villa's turn to make some progress via the touchline. Cowans. Hussein just diverting it out off Platt. Beardsley battling with the bounce. And it's one of those that it was never quite serious enough for the referee to blow. Always looked as though it might end in a free kick. Houghton responded very pertly then. The second half really picking up where the first half left off. Liverpool making the running and making the chances from time to time. That's helped Spink save because of the deflection from Houghton's shot. But Aston Villa, although only sporadically, have just done enough in an attacking sense, as well as scoring, of course, to make Liverpool maintain their defensive discipline and not just come forward. Ablett. Barnes taking over from Beardsley. Price worrying, jockeying, and not stopping Barnes from shooting. Because when he thinks he might take you on with the left foot, Barnes has always got the other option of coming inside and blazing away with the right. Nicol. Aston Villa, it's not just a matter of maintaining their physical work here, but of keeping the mind ticking over and not being caught out by a quick piece of Liverpool into play. Platt was nicely done for Price. In from Cowans. Cascarino will go up for this one. And Glenn Hussein, whose real strength is in attacking the ball in the air, was out-jumped then. Cascarino in the air. That's the cry from the followers, who didn't perhaps take to him too quickly after his move towards the end of last season from Millwall, which was designed to try and help Aston Villa climb the last rung of the ladder to win the championship. That didn't come off. Cascarino took a while to settle. Nicol's cross. Gray with not much time, nor Cowans. Not easy for Villa, but they solved the puzzle then. Amongst the many Liverpool qualities is patience, and that might be one that they will need to lean on at this stage in the game. Oh, and Cascarino having lifted it above Whelan, who found himself covering in the right back position then as Nicol had gone forward. He couldn't get the ball to drop for Daly to collect. Barnes. Liverpool are looking to just change the pattern. They don't have Ronnie Rosenthal as a substitute today. It's Barry Venison and Jan Molby, but this is Gage. Price taking no chances. Ablett, who initially got into the Liverpool side as a left-back, but has more recently appeared in the centre of defence. Whelan for Nicol, the right-back. Howe trying his luck infield. Rush, Houghton lending the support. That was well stretched by Whelan. Aston Villa are forced back once more. Gage trying to hold up Barnes and make him release the ball. McMahon, still Nicol to his right. Liverpool probing on one side and then the other. Not wanting to be ruffled out of the style that suits them so well. Beardsley, Barnes and McGrath grateful that that rolled back into his path. Barnes let it run and wants the return from Beardsley, and McGrath was a key defender again. This will turn out perhaps not so much of a test of Aston Villa's talent, but of their stamina. It's so much harder to do the running when the opposition have the ball, as Liverpool do again. Gillespie. Elegant. And effective enough to win a corner. McMahon in a hurry to get across to be involved in the taking of it. Rush as well, although he's ignored by McMahon. Ablett, and that is a sloppy one. Beardsley. It sticks out a mile when a Liverpool player gives the ball away. Happens so infrequently, but Ablett can make amends. How? You sense that this is a very important phase of this game. Liverpool working away again for an opening, and Rush almost able to find one then, as the three-man central defence for Aston Villa was somewhat sidetracked. But if Villa can withstand it, they might find a second win. They found a gallant run there from Price from deep, but he was offside. A wayward one from Gillespie. Daly. Four players around him, and one of them, Barnes, now can take it up again for Liverpool. McMahon, Whelan always reacting. And Nicol likewise. Oh, that flew across the face of the goal. A flick off friend or foe, and Liverpool could well have regained the lead. Nicol just playing it towards the far post. It actually touched off Gray, but not enough to suit Liverpool's purposes. Nigel Spink, I'm sure in particular, will relish Aston Villa's return to Europe, having played a romantic part in Villa winning the European Cup in 1982. And he came on early in the final against Bayern Munich as a substitute goalkeeper. And Rush can challenge him here. Play on is the message from the referee, who's unlikely to be fooled. Liverpool mixing it up, the longer pass this time, giving Villa a problem, and Rush slipping more than being tripped. Some respite for Aston Villa at the free kick. Hussein, but it'll drop for Daly, who didn't fancy the first-time volley. Headed back decisively by Mountfield. Daly losing out again. Liverpool would be perhaps quite happy to draw Villa out a little and try and hit them on the counter-attack. Cascarino, shoulder to shoulder with Whelan. Pinched back by McMahon. Houghton. Mountfield helping out a rather labouring Nielsen then. Ablett. Oh, and Spink was extended a little more by that cross. One thing that Liverpool will have to keep an eye on is where Tony Daly positions himself, as he can run away from anyone given the right service. Grobbelaar with a safe catch and an untidy challenge into him by Cascarino. In fact, Grobbelaar didn't want the free. He felt that Liverpool should have been allowed to go forward quickly as they wanted to do, by the goalkeeper releasing the ball straight away. Good tackle by Cowans. Here's a run perhaps from Daly. Houghton showing good pace himself. And real tenacity at the end of it. Typical of a team man. Tony Daly might have been forgiven for thinking that he had a run in on Grobbelaar then. Houghton had other ideas. Nicol. Free for the cross, if McMahon wants to drive it in, which he does. Ronnie Whelan! Service to Liverpool that reached 300 league games last Tuesday. He's not as prolific at this stage of his career as he was in terms of goal scoring when he first got into the side. And that one just kept on rising into the cup. Houghton. Barnes. Price doing his best to stick to his task and at least make Barnes always work under some sort of pressure. Houghton. Beardsley looking back into the picture again. Barnes. Cascarino actually has got Daly to his right, and Derek Mountfield wanting to join in as well. Cascarino sensibly keeping Aston Villa going forward. And Daly, who does so many things at top pace, and they've been trying to slow him down at Villa Park at the crucial moment when he has to release the ball to give him a better final product. It didn't materialise that time. Rush squeezing the pass for Nickel. Barnes loping into the middle. And McGrath, and here comes Spink to prevent the corner. The match reaching its three-quarter mark, and it's still Liverpool 1, Aston Villa 1. If anything, Daly a little slow to react then. He didn't gamble that Cascarino would flick it on. Hussein, Cascarino and Daly, apart from trying to get a second goal, of course, with a great responsibility to stop Liverpool settling at the back and players like Gillespie coming forward to give problems at the other end, as he looks to do now. Barnes, well, it was a drag back that he might have a joke with when he meets up with David Platt in the England squad. And Platt, for all his talent, was completely confounded then by the brilliance of Barnes. In the end, it was a free kick. And Mountfield knew what he was doing. Nielsen. Hussein. Beardsley. And Barnes. Oh, Mountain might benefit from this, as Villa were drawn across to try and cope with the two England men. Beardsley finding that Nielsen was the barrier that time. But there's been no decline in Liverpool's approach to the second half. The penetration that they've been looking for hasn't quite arrived. Ablett. Daly let him run. It's easy to say that sitting up here, but it's very hard for players who have had to do more defending than attacking to maintain their discipline. Platt climbs well. Ablett. 3 Liverpool players could have got to that before any opponent. Rush. Beardsley. Houghton was waiting. Daly did enough. But Villa valiant in their defending, and they're getting plenty of practice at it. Barnes against Price. And McGrath stopped the ball, reaching Rush. At the cost of another Liverpool corner. It was Mountfield that time. Houghton gets it back. It's a bit of leaning in by Gillespie, but Cascarino wasn't distracted. McMahon flipped forward by Nickel. It should be the goalkeepers. A crowd of 38,000 crammed into Anfield. The majority hoping to see Liverpool turn their pressure into a real push for victory. But if Aston Villa, and it might be premature to even discuss it, but if they can get away from here with a draw, it would mean so much to their morale as they try to put things together for a new season under a new manager. Beardsley threatening that. Ablett. Oh, and Houghton got his head to it surprisingly, really. McMahon. As Nicol gets the ball, help is immediately there from Hussein. Beardsley. That was, again, a touch delivered with such delicacy that McMahon couldn't fail to keep the move going. How is there going to be a reward at the end of it this time? Cascarino. Even Platt labouring in the Villa chase to retain parity with the champions. Something that they couldn't do eventually when the league table was mapped out after 38 games last season. Although twice in individual meetings they were able to walk off with their heads high against the team managed by Kenny Dalglish and urged forward, as always, by Ronnie Moran. Nicol. Liverpool trying to maintain their traditions, but the Kop will have to come into the all-seater category sooner rather than later. McGrath taking a bit of time. Not much sympathy for that from the Kop. McGrath again. Cascarino with a miscontrol, and those sometimes come more from tiredness at this stage of the game than from faulty technique. Gillespie. Some teams would be downheartened with the amount of possession they've had at not finding a way through. You won't expect Liverpool to come into that category. Nicol. McMahon. McGrath would have hoped to have let that run, but there wasn't enough pace on the ball. It was delivered too much for Beardsley's liking for that. McMahon. Cowan's coming out to try and prevent the shot. Well, the closeness there really encapsulating the way this game has gone. Liverpool in control, but not in the lead. McMahon kept that down and directed it very well indeed. Well, free kick given, quickly taken with a bit of sympathy in the placing of the ball from the referee. Barnes trying to run Price, and he might do it this time. And Gray first to it when Barnes could have really opened them up then. It hasn't been an easy game for him against the persistent Price, John Barnes, but unlucky that that didn't fall onto a friendly head. The cross, McMahon, Nicol. McMahon waiting on the edge. Houghton crosses, and it's rather a tame ending there. Joe Venglosh leaning forward there, maybe new to English management, but he's been a follower of English football for many years and was a disciple of the great Bill Shankly in the 60s. This is Barnes. Ablett. 12 minutes left. And again, no change in the shape of the proceedings, but also no change in the scoreline in the second half. I'm sure he'll feel that his team has done enough to win, and of course they might still do. But with every passing second, Aston Villa will be appreciating what they've done so far, but they will know that it'll only take one further second in terms of a mistake for that work to go to waste. McGrath up above Beardsley, a little flick from Gray. Liverpool, for their part, must maintain their discipline in defending. It's sometimes harder to do that when you're not under the cosh, as Aston Villa have been for actually the entire second half. So they've kept Liverpool more or less at arm's length. Nicol. Can he get the ball past Gray? Will he try to do that? It's no. Whelan. Beardsley. Rush moving this way and that to try and take up a position in the centre. Barnes coming in. And confusing Price, rather. And yet again, Paul McGrath steers it away from the goal. The respite is only temporary. Liverpool haven't slackened, but nor have Aston Villa in their resolve to keep them out. That could change from the corner. Barnes. Liverpool almost giving Villa a taste of their own medicine. Houghton. And Price puts it from where Liverpool will get another corner. Barnes had guided on the one taken from the Liverpool right. Now it's a short one from the left. And Barnes to the fore again. Throw it to Ablett, which he does. McMahon. Houghton. This much speed, torture for Aston Villa's followers. It's pretty hard for the players, who have to try and lend a helping hand to Cascarino, and they couldn't do it before he was inevitably caught by Houghton, as it turned out. Gillespie looking to steady the ship again. Barnes. What has Price got left to try and prevent the cross? Not enough that time, but it wasn't perhaps quite as dangerous as it might have looked to the crowd. If Liverpool had a player like Cascarino in their side, this sort of cross would perhaps be more productive. Away from the far post, a little bit more time in Aston Villa's favour. Daly. Well, Price with enough energy left to for some attacking thoughts. Gage gets it in. Grobbelaar loses out to Cascarino, and he's frustrated again at Anfield in a Villa shirt, just as he was in his visits here with Millwall, when he got the better of Grobbelaar in each game he played and still didn't end up a scorer. There was cover behind the goalkeeper, to Liverpool's relief. Houghton. Away from Gray. Rush, Barnes and Beardsley, the three wearing red in the middle. Rush! Swung his right leg like a farmer with a scythe, but didn't cut down Aston Villa. Hussein. Villa's first priority to keep the ball in this half of the pitch. If they can do more with it, all well and good. This is Houghton. Aston Villa, although the fatigue will be setting against them, I'm sure be reminding themselves Liverpool keep going right to the last. We must remember that. And Barnes does just... Well, this was far too close for Villa's comfort. And Chris Price will be justified in calling for some reinforcements at the moment, as Barnes takes him on. Hussein is down and not dismayed, because Liverpool have a free kick. Well, the game stopped here because of one hothead who came onto the field, only to find that Bruce Grobbelaar, a soldier of course in his days in Zimbabwe, knew exactly how to deal with him. Whelan goes forward again, with Liverpool running out of time as they look to maintain a 100% start to the season in match 3. Cowan's really clattering the ball into Houghton. Hussein safely back to Grobbelaar, who is able to concentrate on goalkeeping again. Nicely timed, the overlap from Ablett. Barnes, Price first to him again. With as much strength as he can muster. Oh my word! What can you do about that? Absolutely nothing. Villa thought they were going to hold out, but they reckoned without the brilliance of Barnes inside the final 3 minutes. He'd made life a misery for Price as the half had developed, and that's the margin that you deal with at Anfield. The underside of the bar, it could have come out, it's gone in. The champions lead last season's most meaningful challengers by 2 goals to 1. Here's Platt. His goal condemned perhaps to simply a statistic instead of a share in the main story of the game. The headlines will belong to Barnes, who has pulled something out of the embers of this game to fan the fires for Liverpool. Well, Liverpool, under Dalglish and managers before him, have broken hearts here by their determination to take every opportunity and even to make an opening where there seemed to be none, through the talent at their disposal. And the salt could be rubbed in Villa's wounds if Beardsley could have done more then. Liverpool, you felt, had tried absolutely everything and it hadn't come off. And Villa were edging towards the safety and security of a draw. And Barnes tries to be a thorn in their side again. Well, poor Chris Price, who I'm sure was worried that Barnes might speed past him on the other side, would have felt that the odds were in Villa's favour when Barnes checked on to what is supposed to be his weaker foot. But he made light of any difficulty. He's done it before, he's done it here at such a timely moment for Liverpool. John Barnes has won them the game. It's played 3, 1-3 for the defending champions, and it's given Joe Venglosh a typical initiation of bringing a visiting team to Anfield. Aston Villa having to defend for much of the game after David Platt had equalised the opening goal from Peter Beardsley, but Villa were edging towards a draw, which would have meant so much to them. For Liverpool, each victory is judged simply as that, but the down-to-earth management team here might privately take extra satisfaction in conquering last season's closest challengers, something they couldn't match in their 2 league meetings during that season. It's a win for Liverpool today, though, by 2 goals to 1.